So speaking of projects, one thing that I wanted to highlight, and for anyone who hasn't in our audience, I'd encourage people to check it out. Scotia recently won an award for innovation in digital banking for your pandemic crisis response. So could you tell us a little bit about the award, in a directional way, if you're able to share what your team's role was in that? I think that, could be very interesting. And this is something you can look up on the internet for folks if you want to, get more information. But I'd love to hear a little bit about that award and, what you guys did to enable that.
Yes, Scotiabank won a recognition about the improving in its digital channel. It's very important for us because we understand what our client want. They want to improve the transaction, the speed, and the quality of digital transaction. Particularly in my team here in Uruguay, the challenge was very important because we have to work in different areas and different issues. First, related to the speed of the answers that the Scotiabank, the bank, give to the market. Today the branches don't work as we imagined 10 years ago. Today the client go to the internet apps and the smartphone and ask for a credit or ask for a loan, and it's very fast and change the way we work with clients. That imply automatization, different model, predictive model, but prospecting model, delivery with different channels, smartphones, app, and so on. The other thing is very important is to understand the new client. For us, it's very important to understand the different behavior. Economy changed in the last 6 months, and we are conscious of that, and perhaps one client in the end of last year want to buy a new car, and today they have to consume and have to understand this different behavior, consume different goods, not only a car. And we have to understand this in a huge amount of people. And the third is to apply a different price model. The price for me is changing very early because we consider the value different of the price, and the value for different things change. The COVID-19 change our point of view for different issues, for different behavior, for different consumptions, and we have to understand that, and we have to understand the price related to the value of different issue. For example, in the house, in real estate industry, and we work closely with different players, we understand that the people want to go to the outside the city, to a house different to an apartment. Perhaps last year was different, and we understand this, and we have to develop new product, develop new challenge, and develop new prices for these products. And my team have to understand this with data, and the data come very fast because all of the clients use digital channels, and we have to process this data, and we have to develop insight about it. We have to develop new product or collaborate with product to design a new service, product, and so on. For us, it's very important to change our mindset in the last 6 months. And
it's a fascinating project from what I read, and just, you know, I mean, a couple of things just to kind of draw out of that. I mean, this was a lot of work that was done very quickly in retail banking, which is complicated. You know, back to some of the things we talked about. There's a lot of data. You know, there are regulatory complexities. Suddenly, you know, there's all this new demand for different kinds of interaction, and this has been written about a lot. But what I think is cool about this is it's often been said this year that we took, you know, 5 years of digital progress and compressed it into, you know, less than 5 months. So it's very impressive that you guys were able to do that. And then it just draws on some of this, you know, the agile thing that we talked about, working with complicated data sets. I like that you highlighted, you know, kind of the pricing aspect of it, because I think, if I understand correctly, you wanted to both help people, you know, help customers, real humans who have financial problems because of the pandemic. But at the same time, you know, Scotiabank is a business and it still needs to make money. And what your team was able to do was sort of bring those two pieces together. And then, you know, the other thing, and I'd encourage everyone to read about this project, because it's an impressive award and it was a really cool project. I think two things happened. One is you did a lot of complicated work very quickly that almost seems like it came out of nowhere. But in fact, your ability to do that was in part because there was an executive commitment about 3 years ago to putting in place organizations like yours. So, you know, in a sense, you proverbially, you made your own luck in this, right? That it wasn't, and in fact, if that program hadn't been there, I doubt you would have been able to do all this so quickly. So I think there are a lot of good lessons for, you know, industry leaders in sort of thinking about, like, look, this was event driven, but on the other hand, the bank's leadership had enough foresight a few years ago to say, we need to start building these capabilities so that we can do better work, have higher returns, and do a better job for our customers. And then, you know, there was this kind of a remarkable opportunity where a lot of these things came together, you know, with the great result that we saw.
Yes, exactly. Particularly in Uruguay, Scotiabank can respond very quickly because we have a team analyzing data. You know, I work for 1 year and a half to develop a team, and this situation implied that the team was consolidate, have a different process, understand the bank business, and accelerate the digital channel. But if we don't have the team, the process, and the area, I want not to think about it.
Yeah. Super. Well, I think maybe that's a good note to kind of wrap up on. Are there any final thoughts you'd like to leave our audience with? Major predictions in data or data technology for the next 5 to 10 years? Advice for mid-career data professionals that we talked about? Any final words of wisdom that you'd leave us with?
I will try to say something interesting. I don't know exactly the evolution of technology in the next 3-5 years, but I think the people who want to work in this data area have to understand the landscape that they are working on. It means they have to understand the instruments, the tools related to data, but also to understand the business, the landscape you are working on. If you work in a retail, if you are a financial services, you have to understand the business strategy. You have to understand the soft skill you need. We talk about the innovation, leadership, negotiation is very important to work in data. Perhaps it's not common to understand when you study data science that you need negotiation or creativity or leadership, but when you start to work, you will need it.
Yeah, I think that is a great summary, and I think of a couple of maybe major points that I can just try to synthesize. That was a great summary of that kind of role description for what makes a good chief data officer, which I think is really important. And then a couple of other things just to highlight that kind of focus on business value and speaking business language and not data language. And then the other thing that I thought was just fascinating and just really appreciate your insight into is this idea of the importance of business ethics, how it's really on industry to lead that, and that's going to end up being the regulatory of the future. But we have to pioneer that within industry. So Diego, can people find you online on Twitter and so forth?
Yes, of course, in Twitter and in LinkedIn. All of us we are in the internet world.
Yeah, perfect. Awesome. Well, this was great, Diego. Thank you so much for joining me today. For our audience, I hope everyone found this as interesting as I did. We have some additional interviews at cdomagazine.tech, but I have to say this was one of my personal favorites. So thanks very much. Thank you, Diego. Appreciate it, and hope everyone has a terrific day.
Thank you, Grace. It's a great chat with you, and thank you for the opportunity to present my work.
Indeed. Thank you.